Kenya's Gold.
Hello, hello, hello. We are back at it again this brand new week. We are bigger, better, fresher, full of energy and psych to continue doing what we do best every single day of the week, which is on highlighting all matters agriculture as we explore solutions on what we can all collectively do to fix our food system. Tere, how are you?
Nashukuru Mungu sana. Uko salama wewe?
I'm good. How was your weekend?
Weekend imekuwa sawa japokuwa kuna vungu ile
I know vungu. You taught me. Fatigue.
Yes.
Look at me, guys. Well, haukai kama mtu ako na vungu. The way you're dressed, unakaa ni kama leo unataka kwenda go down on one knee, kuuliza msichana wenyewe, will you marry me? You look nice.
Nashukuru. Ni kwa sababu nimechua. Unajua kuchua?
Hiyo hujanifunza.
Kuchua ni wakati umepata tuseme umechoka, unafinywa ile kutomasa ni massage, lakini sasa kutoa uchungu wenyewe tunaita kuchua.
Aha, clearly you had a good weekend. Hata kama uko na vungu kidogo. And we do hope that you viewers back at home also did have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for making time to join us this Monday, the 25th of August, right here on our program. Now, our mission today, as has always been, is to make sure that we are learning from our farmers, appreciating our farmers, inducting and onboarding new young farmers like you and I. Once again, a very good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Violeta Ngina, or the International Mkulima.
Kwa nini unaweka neno mkulima iliyo ya Kiswahili? Si utumie farmer?
No, International Mkulima.
Okay.
Iko na vibe yake.
Sasa nakubali kabisa. Kama mimi sasa ni mkulima taifa la Kenya, nashukuru sana. Asante sana kwa kukubali kujiunga na sisi siku ya leo. Mashabiki wa Manchester United nikiwemo, pole sana. Tunajaribu chochote kile. Amorim aliandika kwamba tutapiga kila timu, lakini naona kwamba ilikuwa ahadi ya sio kweli. Asante sana kwa kukubali kujiunga na sisi. Tunageuza dira sasa, tunaingia katika uchambuzi mkubwa kuhusiana na mizabibu kutoka taifa la Tanzania, na itakuwa raha kabisa usome na sisi kadi tamatufike tamati. Ni maandalizi makubwa ya makala ambayo nashukuru ulifanya vizuri, lakini wakati napita kutazama nimeangalia umeshikilia bilauri ya divai.
Yeah. Bilauri is what?
Your glass.
Oh yeah, wine glass. Karibu niulize kwani niko nchi nyingine? Oh yeah, niko na bilauri ya divai because we are learning so much about grape farming in East Africa. Now here in Kenya, despite the fact that we do have the climatic condition and the soils that can support the growth of grapes, we are importing 90% of the grapes that are consumed here in Kenya. So for us to learn more on how we can upscale our production, Kenya's Gold spent several days in Dodoma, Tanzania, and more than just learning Kiswahili sanifu, we learned about grapes. And today we are going to one of the wineries, Alco Vintages, and we'll learn the value addition process. Yani safari inaanzia shambani hadi kwa bilauri. Take a look. Another day, another very interesting feature. Kenya's Gold is coming through to you from Dodoma, Tanzania. And this particular region that we are in is called Makole. Now, why I'm very happy and excited about today's feature is because we're going to learn so much about the value addition of grapes, and we will be making wine out of our grapes. Remember, here on the program, we're keen on the entire value chain of agriculture, from farm to fork. But today, it's going to be from farm to glass. How are the farmers benefiting from this value addition? We will be learning about that and more right here at Alco Vintages. Come along with me. Let us get into the process of making some wine from your grapes. Hi, Frank.
Hello.
How are you?
Very
You well?
Very well.
Thank you so much for having us here at Alco Vintages.
Karibu sana.
Tumetoka kwa mashamba, tumetembelea wakulima wa zabibu. We've learned that grape farming is very big here in Dodoma.
Yes, it is.
Has that been the history for a while now?
For a while, yes.
Right.
Yeah, since colonial times. Yeah. That's
Right.
when the grapes were introduced in Dodoma.
Right.
The missionaries.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we do want to learn so much about how that grape gets into our glass as wine. And I believe you are the right person to take us through that. But even before we get into the details of making the wine, please just start by introducing yourself, telling us the role you play here at Alco Vintages and for how long you've been doing this.
Well, my name's Frank. I am the winemaker at Alco Vintages, one of 3 winemakers. But yeah, so I supervise this process all the way from vines to some degrees from vines all the way to bottle. Right before they put it in the bottle, it's all my responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
So where did you develop your interest in being the winemaker? Kwa sababu nimesikia huku wengine wanakuita the cellar master.
Well,
all right. So where did you develop that interest from?
Cellar master is a bit of an inflated title. Lakini, I grew up in this industry. My parents were my father's a winemaker. So, you know, it was just natural to be, to get into this industry. Right. So that's how it all started. But then I also got training a little bit from South Africa, a little bit from Italy. Right. And mostly the bulk of it was from watching how everything else is being done here. So,
right.
Yeah.
So if you compare, you've been to South Africa, you've been to Italy, and now you're here. If you compare the wine culture in those 3 countries, what is the significant difference that you've seen or anything unique about these countries with wine?
Well, like I would say that their wine culture is a little more mature, because it was more traditional for them. We got it, the wine industry here is around 100, maybe at most 100 years old. Mm-hmm. So it's still in its infancy, but we're catching up.
Right.
Our palates are significantly different. I mean, if you compare the European or the South African palate to the Tanzanian palate, and mostly even East African palate as a whole, it's a little sweeter, our palate. Ah. Yeah, but otherwise, you know, we see this shift to more drier, you know, preferences. So otherwise, so that's the significant difference. And right. People slowly are starting to adopt, you know, this culture into their everyday drinking culture, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So here we are drinking more of the sweet wine.
Sweet wine.
And there they're drinking more of the dry wine.
Yeah.
Are different grapes making sweet and dry, or is the same kind of grapes like what we have here?
I mean, you could probably make sweet wine with almost any grape, depending on, you know, cultural preferences, but any grape could make a sweet wine, any grape could make a dry wine, although sometimes it would be a little absurd if you use a very fruity, floral wine and make a dry wine out of it. Maybe people won't really prefer that, but in most cases, any grape can make any style in terms of dry, sweet, or fortified, but then others are better suited for that than others.
Great. Yeah. And then we have, of course, the red wine, and we have the white wine.
And the rosé.
And rosé.
Yeah.
So this one's make the red wine?
So this is Makutupora Red.
This variety is called Makutupora Ready. Yeah. And I feel like that's what most farmers around here are growing from the different farms we've visited.
This is the most popular variety here. This is the most popular red variety here. We also have a little Shira and mostly Shira in the red category. We also have a little Cabernet, but mostly it's just Makutupora Red.
Right.
Which was it's almost unique to Dodoma. This variety, because it doesn't really, it's not very similar to other varieties from other parts of the world.
Right.
It's more, actually, it's a little more similar to the Italian Agliaco, but otherwise it's a very unique grape to this region. Yeah.
So this will make our red wine.
This will make our red wine. It will also make our rosé. Yeah.
And the other white grapes, which is still a variety, another variety here, Makutupora Red, will make the white wine.
Yeah. So that's a Chenin Blanc.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. So now we do want to understand the process from the farm. Tulikuwa pale kwa shamba, tuka harvest na mkulima fulani, tukaeka kwa lori, tukafika hadi hapa.
Yeah.
First, tell us, do you receive these consignments every single day?
Every day during the season. So 6 times a week, at least 8 weeks a year. So during the harvest season. So we usually work here around 8 to 10 weeks, usually 8 maximum around.
But there are 2 seasons, no?
2 seasons, yes. Although one isn't all that large. The grapes, that's like the rainy season between January and February.
Right.
And then you've got this dry season, which this is the season where you get your best quality grapes.
Right. Why is that? The reason? What makes a good quality grape for making good quality wine?
So in this case, I mean, is it ripe? So a ripe grape makes good quality wine. So there are challenges with the rainy season where grapes have trouble getting ripe because you know it's raining. So even keeping the vines healthy is a challenge.
Right.
So usually the wine that we get from that season isn't really suited for bottled wine.
Right.
We make wine out of it, and the plan is, well, we've been doing this for at least 2 years now, where we use those grapes to make wine that will be distilled for brandy.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they hit sugar levels of around maybe 18 brix, which is like 190 grams per liter. Maximum,
Right.
as opposed to the grapes we're getting in now, which will have a minimum of around 220 grams per liter. Yeah,
So what's the best sugar level? What are you looking for? What is the range?
around 21 all the way to 23, 23 points.
Right.
Usually not 24.
Right.
Beyond that, again, trouble for this kind of variety, especially. So around 21 to 23.
Right, and
that would be
comes
ideal.
best in this dry season.
This is the season for it.
I would almost have assumed that there's nothing as excess sugar. So there is excess sugar.
There is an excess. I mean, it depends on exactly what you're trying to make. So if you're trying to make, say, a sweet wine with rested fermentation, which means that you will not ferment it all the way to the end and maybe stop the fermentation halfway. If you have an overripe grape to, say, 25, 26 brix, and then hope to maybe stop the fermentation through whatever process, maybe fortification, you still probably get amazing wine from this.
Right.
But if you're trying to make dry wine, that will be problematic, because then you'll get at 25 or something, you'll probably get an alcohol level of around 15%. Which we're making fortified wine, that's cool, but for a dry wine, the alcohol level is too high, but then you'll lose the character of the wine, which people expect from your variety.
Right.
So the notes of fruit and flower, whatever else, will be lost, and so you have this sort of like high alcohol flat wine, which you don't necessarily want.
Great. Yeah. All right, now take us through the process when the consignment gets here. Is there also a particular time of the day that it gets here? Can it be any time? Leo imefika saa 2 asubuhi, kesho itakuja saa 8, kesho kuto saa 10. What is the timings and why do you work with that?
So usually in the morning, that's when the picking should be done, and before late afternoon, we'd like it to have arrived here so we can go on with the crushing and everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you pick from different farmers in a day? Kama hapa imechanganyika ya wakulima tofauti?
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes we have different farmers and everything. Sometimes no. Sometimes it's just one guy. But to us, you know, we visit the farms. We hand pick the farms that need to be harvested, because you have to be careful, you know, sugar levels, but then also the health of each, because you know different farms, different conditions, and therefore slightly different grape health and stuff like that. So we try to pick things that match.
Right. Once our truck is here and we have our crates of grapes inside, what is the first activity that is done here?
So first, I mean, the farmers want to know what they brought in. So we weigh the grapes first.
Right.
Make sure that the farmer is clear on how many kilograms is brought in.
Right.
We also need to know in order to know exactly how many liters we expect.
Right.
Because there's a very simple conversion. Around 70% of the kilograms we receive is the output in terms of juice and wine, 70 to 75%.
Right, so there's no much waste.
Not
Only
too
about
much.
30%.
Maximum 30, and you know, yeah, so it's not too bad.
Right.
The yield, and after that we place the grapes.
So where do we weigh on that end?
Here's where we put everything down, and it's all red over there.
Over there, all right. Explain to us how the weighing is done. Do you do it per crate, or how many are weighed at the same time?
It depends really on the number of crates per farmer, right? So in this case, we could weigh up to, in this case, maybe 60 to 80 crates at once.
Oh, in this, so we can stack about 60 to 80 crates.
60 to 80 crates over here. And then once we have that, once it's all stacked up, there'll be a person over there to read how many kilograms. The farmer will also be there to confirm.
Right.
And then it's all put it on an escalator like this. And
this
where
is the escalator.
Yeah.
And then what's the purpose of it being in our elevator or escalator?
At this moment, we try to sort out leaves, stems, whatever else that isn't really desirable for the crushing process.
Right.
Like that. And it dumps, what it does is it controls the feeding into the destemmer crusher.
Right.
So that's its proper job.
Right.
So as it's doing that, we also try to sort out things that are undesirable.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is also a sorting area, but there's also a time I saw you using a table.
Yeah, we also do a table sorting when we have If the grapes need it, then we put it in a sorting table to really get into like removing each and every particle that we do not need in our wine at the end of the day. Yeah.
Great. So after sorting,
where what happens is the berries get separated from the stalk or the stem. So as that happens, the berries fall into this area where there's a crusher right here, where we've got 2 rubber wheels that will gently crush the grapes into the mash pump, like so. And all that will be pumped into a maceration tank. And the stalks, on the other hand, will be collected on the other end in the receiving bin over there.
So 2 things are happening here.
Yeah.
Destemmer, we're removing the stems from the grape,
berries,
and then also we're crushing.
Yeah, we're crushing.
Good.
Hence destemmer crusher.
All right.
Yeah.
And then now we move to this side.
Yeah, so that end is where we collect the leftover, the stalks.
Yes.
The stems.
Sometimes some berry gets here. Does it bother you when we have some that escape and come here?
Well, yeah, it does. You know, it is a little wasteful, but it's really, on the grand scheme of things, it's really negligible at the end of the day.
So you don't have to take it back and try and recover it?
We don't need to recover each and everything.
Right.
And most of the time, the loss is very minimal.
Right.
We'd have times where it's a little higher, but for the most part, it's negligible.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is the stems. These are the stems that we were removing.
Yeah, these are the stems.
At the destemmer.
Yeah, this is what the destemmer. So usually you only have like a few berries left, like so.
Yeah.
What you see here, this is not the norm. This is the exception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But otherwise, this is what it does. It separates.
All right.
There's a way to set it up so you can reduce the wastage, but then sometimes it means you need to go way slower.
Yeah.
So you have to balance it out. Yeah.
So what happens to the stems now that we're done with it?
Now that we're done with it, there are people who are looking into composting. Yeah. And there's these other things where they're talking about almost like turning this into charcoal and then using them in some other way in the fields.
Right.
I'm not too convinced on the matter, but yeah, they do have uses. But then, so far, yes, I mean, we don't really do much with them.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So by the time our grapes are living here, they're already crushed. The stem is removed, but the skin is still there.
The skin and the fleshy bits, everything is still intact.
All right.
Yeah.
So it passes through this pipe?
Yeah, it's all pumped through this pipe into the maceration tank.
Can we go and have a look at what's happening there? Great. So where are we now?
So we're inside one of our cellars.
All right.
So this is where this area is where the maceration happens. We call these maceration tanks.
What is maceration? You know, you are a wine master, you're a wine maker, and there's someone who's learning this for the very first time. So what's a cellar? What's maceration? What are all those terms?
Terminology. So cellar would be where one stores wine. So, you know, if you have a little wine collection at home and you put them in a cold, dark place somewhere, we'll call that a cellar. But over here too, I mean, the cellar is, again, where we store wine, or in this case, make wine. So this is also a cellar.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's now maceration?
Maceration is a process of, how do I say, it's like soaking. It's like, I wanted to say marinating, but I'm not a kitchen person. I don't know if they actually, you know, if it makes sense if I say that. But what you're trying to do is soak the skins with the juice and later wine.
Soaking the skin with the juice.
Yeah, because as you remember, we pumped everything in here, the entire fruit, right? So we still have the skins and we have a lot of juice in here. And the rest of the fleshy bits will break down in time. They'll slowly break down and we just release juice.
Right.
But then what we need is the red from the red. The red in red wine comes mostly from the skins.
Ooh, so the skin is not really waste from the very beginning.
From the very beginning, it's a very important part of the process.
Yeah.
So you need the skin for the color, but other phenolic components come in and they also come from the skin. So we also have tannins. So that coffee-like sensation you feel in your mouth, almost like leaving your mouth sort of dry, it dries your mouth in a way. That is tannin, and that comes from the skins too.
Right.
Yeah.
So skin is a very important element in grapes that are used to making wine.
Exactly.
All right. So when we follow through with the pipe that came in from outside.
So it's pumped. It's getting pumped into one of these tanks. So right over here.
This one.
This one.
Okay.
So this is our receiving tank right now.
It has a capacity of how many liters?
This is a 15,000 liter tank.
Ooh.
So in a 15,000 liter tank, we only do around maximum 12 tons. usually around 75% full. Because what happens is once we've crushed everything in here, the skins have a tendency of floating on top of the juice. So hence it defeats the whole process of maceration. Yeah, it defeats the whole maceration process. So they're not soaked. So that's why as it rises up, it needs to have that headroom. Otherwise, if you fill it all the way up, what happens is as they start rising up, they overflow.
So you have to leave some space up there. You fill it to about 75%.
75%.
All right.
Yeah.
So how long does it stay here?
It depends on the type of wine we're trying to make and, you know, how we're tight. But otherwise, so usually around 4 days. Most of the wines we make usually macerate for 4 days because the grapes we have here, because again, this is like our extraction tank. We're trying to extract color and other phenolics, right? So, and this is also where we start our fermentation. So we got our grapes in today, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow morning we'll inoculate. So we'll prepare some yeast and we'll put it inside the tank.
So that's done after several hours?
Yeah, several hours.
Today we've put in...
Yeah, we put it in today.
Some of the crushed grapes.
Yes.
And then tomorrow morning, we're going to add yeast.
We're going to add yeast into this.
All right.
Yeah.
For the fermentation to happen.
For the fermentation to start happening. So
how much yeast do you need?
It depends. So maybe, so we have the yeast we use right now, so it's around 20 to 30 grams per hectoliter. So you have to work out exactly how many hectoliters. So hectoliters is like 100 liters.
Right.
So how many hundreds of liters are in your crushed product?
Right.
So in this case, in 12 tons, now, if I'm wrong, people, I mean, I don't have I'm not a human calculator, but that's roughly around 8,400.
Right.
So that's the quantity of wine we expect to get from this tank.
Right.
If it's full, if it's 12 tons full.
Right.
So
you have to be very precise with the yeast that you're putting.
Most definitely.
What are the challenges if I put less or much more yeast than is required?
If you put in less, that means the yeast will be overwhelmed. So you don't have enough yeast to actually colonize the tank and actually digest the sugars.
Right.
And that might also cause them to be exhausted a little more. And that will also contribute to maybe off flavors and aromas in your wine.
Right.
So you have to make sure that your dosage is correct.
Right.
If you use too much, well, you're losing money because yeast isn't cheap. Yes.
That part too.
Kenya's Gold.
Kile kikubwa ambacho kinatokana na makala hayo ni kwamba yale maganda ambayo yanatokana na mizabibu hatuyatupili mbali. Tunatumia baadaye kuleta ladha fulani. Acha nitumie Kiswahili kusema tashihisi. Unaleta hisia fulani kwa
Yes, they're very necessary to bring the color as well.
Nafurahia sana, lakini yule bingwa pia anaboboja lugha ya Kiingereza sana na ni Mtanzania pia. Raha
He's well traveled.
Kweli nisikiza ametoka Italia pia. Na masomo yake kwenda Afrika Kusini. Bingwa sana yule, makala mazuri sana, ngina pongezi.
Oh, thank you. Great conversation there we are having with Frank, who is a winemaker at Alco Vintages in Dodoma, Tanzania. And we're not yet done with that conversation. After this short commercial break that we are taking right now, he's going to be shedding more light on when is the right time to separate the skin that Teret was talking about and what is the correct way to do that. And also we will be looking at some of the byproducts that come from winemaking. All that and more on the other side of this break that we are taking right now. Lakini kama kawa, we have to tease our farm joke question of the day. Na kwa sababu sasa tuko kwa ile mood ya football nini hata ulianza na mambo ya Manchester. The question today is for you guys. Why was the football stadium cold? Why was the football stadium cold? Please start sending in your answers across all our social media platforms. On Instagram, we are at Kenya's Gold. On X, we are at Citizen TV Kenya. See you after this break with a lot more when it comes to value addition in grapes.